Okay, today I'm going to go over the basics of video editing. In this case, I'm going to start with some video footage that I've already shot. Now, I'll list some ways to get your video into the computer from your camera, but of course all cameras are a little bit different, and so it doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter, but you should download your video according to the format that you shot it in. In this case, if you shot it in high definition, I would download it to put it into your computer in high definition. Most people would use a certain software. I actually use mostly iMovie. You know, I download the video right into iMovie, and then from iMovie I put it into something else, maybe into Premiere or something like that. But to go from my camera into Premiere isn't always the easiest way, so I go actually into iMovie on my Mac just to get it on the computer, and then work with it. Now, I'm working with very old footage today. So this was shot with a standard old video camera that shoots at DV footage at widescreen format. So in this case, knowing which format your video is in before you start is a really good idea. That way you can tell the software that you're using to use the appropriate setting. So today I'm going to go over the Scary Movie. I do this with mostly every one of my classes that I teach. Basically, it's a bunch of footage I took a long time ago, and we can look at it in black and white. I was using the black and white setting in my camera, so it's kind of blurry. It's not very good footage, but what's important is just to learn some basic video editing techniques of setting in and out points, and then mixing the video footage with some audio. I have a variety of video footage. Then we have a soundtrack. There's several different sounds. I've used each one of these in different versions of this. This one I like the best. It kind of goes well with the footage. It's a kind of a drum driven. So there's a variety of different sounds you can use. I'm going to put this this footage on a web page that you can download and work with, practice with. And then after that, there's also some sound effects that you can use to mix in with the music track. So in this case, I'm going to use Premiere to give you one, and then I'll do another one in iMovie, basic editing in iMovie. So if I start with a new project again, I'm going to choose a place for it to go. In this case, it's on my desktop. It's in Scary Movie, and I'm going to give it a name, Scary Movie, and then I'm going to hit OK. Then it's going to get me to the new sequence window inside of Premiere, and there you choose which format you're going to use. Again, this was shot with an older video camera, so it actually uses the old DV NTSC format. It's using it in widescreen though. Okay, so it's the widescreen. It's going to fit a high definition TV monitor. It just won't be in high definition. So that's the format I'm using, and I'm just going to hit OK. Once I have my sequence set inside of Premiere, I'll then import my footage. Again, this footage is in the MP4 format. So I'm going to go under File, Import, and then I'm going to find my files, and I'm going to select them. Now, if you're going to use iMovie, of course, you would probably put this into, you can import into iMovie, but you might want to put the sound effects and stuff into iTunes to make it easy to get to it in iMovie. So again, once it's been imported, I will then go and import my music. Now, you can import a folder if you would like. So you don't have to import. So right now I imported individual video files by holding the Shift key and selecting multiple video files inside of Premiere. But if you want, you can actually select the whole entire folder and say import, and that'll bring all the sound effects in. And the nice thing about bringing a folder into Premiere is it'll actually show you the folder inside the program, so the files inside of the project window is nice and organized. Once we get everything in, I'll explain the program a little bit more, and then I'm going to bring in a soundtrack by importing the first one that I like. Okay, again, now I'm just going over basic video editing techniques today, and again, this is just Adobe Premiere, which is a basic video editor. How it works is you have video footage, like I've already imported into the program. You'll see little thumbnails of the video footage down here in the project window. And then you have a source window that is up here in the upper left corner. Once you usually, how it works is I put the video files from the project window up here, edit them the way I want, and then put them down here in what's called the timeline. The timeline works in time, of course. You can see a video all works in time, so as the video is playing, and this is a preview window in the upper left corner here, as the video starts playing, you'll see the actual video footage over here. Again, it works in time. You'll notice there is 00 to 16 to 32 to 48 to 104. Any of these numbers represent what's called time code. The numbers on the far right are the frames, and the numbers in the middle are seconds, minutes, and hours. That's how you read the time code here. Of course, since I chose the NTSC DV NTSC format, it's going to do 30 frames a second. And so that's sort of what the timeline and how the numbers work there. So again, probably the way that you edit in this program, of course, this program is kind of, we call it mystery or scary movie. So we're going to use the black and white footage, and we're going to put it together in kind of a mystery kind of movie, something that's happening with all this black and white footage. There's some close-ups, there's some just texture kind of things, and then there's some cars, and then there's some signs, and then there's some blood, what I call the bloody handprints here, and then there's some swings, and there's some things you could speed up. So actually I'm going to start with this footage that's in here. It has some kind of bridges, and it has some water, and so I'm going to put my title over top of this one. I kind of like where the road is going here, so I'm actually going to start with the road going here. This kind of blurriness that's going here. So I'm going to start by putting an in point. So how this video editing works is that you double click on a video that's down here. It'll put it up into the source window over here. And then how you edit is you tell it where you want the video to start, because right now we have a big long video and I don't want to use all this video footage that we see here. I just want to use part of it. So again, I'm going to put my what's called the playhead, this little yellow thing. I mean, you can watch the whole thing going through, and I've already watched it. That's why I kind of started right away. So you can watch the video footage. Which this opening scene isn't too bad. And so there's sound that's connected to the audio or to the video footage. We'll talk about that and maybe how to remove it or how to use it. But you can sit there and watch the whole thing, or you could drag the playhead here. This is the playhead to where you want to start, and again I wanted to start somewhere right around here. So in this case, I'm going to put the playhead here, and then I'm going to hit this button right here. It says Mark In. What that does is it tells the video to start here. Then as the video goes along, I'm going to say, and this is pretty long, I don't need this. Again, when you're looking, you got 20 is the minutes. This is seconds, and this is there. Now, you're looking at the time code here in this window, but this is the time code that came from the camera. So it's not giving you an accurate representation of what we are looking at here. So the time code's a little messed up in this. This is done with a very old camera. If you were shooting with a video camera that had shot on a chip or something like that, most likely the time code would be correct. So I can't really talk about time code and how to edit with time code in this footage. That's not really accurate. So in this case, you could set an in point on one point and an out point on another, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the timeline. You can either drag it down into the timeline, or you can use this insert option, which is right here. It says insert, and it puts it into the timeline for you. Once it's in the timeline, you can preview it over here. And this is pretty long. This is long footage here. So you can see it kind of starts off, and there's some sound going. And you say to yourself, well, okay, that looks good. I played it. Again, I hit the space bar to play that, or this playhead right here. This will play it. Or you can hit the space bar in Adobe Premiere to see a preview. Now you'll notice at the very beginning here there's a little bit of blurriness. I didn't start it really where I wanted. You can see I really want to just get the street kind of going along, so there's blurriness at the beginning. So this editing program is very intuitive or very easy to use, in that the footage that you have now in the timeline has an in point at the very beginning and an out point at the very end. What you can do is you can actually edit as you go along in this program. I can put my playhead to all the way over here to the left, and I can start dragging it. As I'm dragging it, the preview will show you what's going on. So I want to get rid of this kind of blurry. Again, there's some blurriness at the beginning. I kind of want to start right around there. So what I can do is I can put my playhead here at the very beginning of the footage here in the timeline, and I can drag it. And you can do the same thing in iMovie. Put your cursor between the clips or at the beginning of a clip and cut out a little bit at the beginning. And then I'm going to move it all the way, this clip all the way back to the very beginning, so it starts at 0, 0 there. So again, you can do some basic editing here in the timeline. You can do some editing in the video before you put it in the timeline, and so on. So again, there's some footage, some blurry footage of some thing. I'm probably not going to use this whole thing. I'm going to put a little title at the beginning, a little title in there, and then we'll move on to a different video clip. So if you want your video to fade in at the beginning, the easiest and most effective way is to use the transitions. I often use video transitions. I'm going to use one under Effects inside of Premiere. You go to Effects, Video Transitions, and I'm going to go to Dissolve, and I'm going to grab my cross dissolve and drag it to the very beginning of my footage here. What that does is, and if I hit the spacebar to play, you'll see it comes fading in at the very beginning, just a little bit. If you want that to fade in a little longer, you can zoom in over here inside of the timeline. There's a little bar that goes along the bottom here. If I put my cursor kind of in the middle there, I can drag to the left, and it'll actually, what it's doing is it's not really changing the time of the video, it's changing the view of the video in the timeline so I can see it a little bit more. I'm going to put my cursor here towards the beginning here, and I'm going to put my cursor right about there, and I can actually drag that transition a little bit longer. Oops, I hit the wrong part there. I'm going to undo that. I want just a transition. Nope, it's not going to let me. I have to zoom in a little bit more. Again, what I'm trying to do is make that black fade a little bit longer. So if I zoom all the way in again, and there's a little bar at the very bottom of the timeline, I can actually grab the edge of this transition and drag it a little bit longer so it fades in a little slower. So you can drag transitions longer. And as you can see it fades in a little bit longer now. Once it fades in, I'm going to then make a little title for my project. And we'll title this. Again, I'm going to use the title window inside of Premiere by going under File, New Title. Again, I'll start again. File, New Title. And you can give it a name. Scary Movie Title. I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to use my text. I'll go, there's a variety of different options in this program. You can have text along a path, which I've never really used inside this program, so I'm going to actually use it right now. Again, you could just use the type tool and click on the screen and type some text in. That's perfectly fine, but this one's kind of interesting. There's text on a path type tool, vertical path. Never tried that, so I'm going to, well, let's just make it plain text for now. We'll come back and we'll make something interesting in the title window. So I'm going to click with my text, and we'll say where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? Because this is a scary movie, we're looking for Waldo. So I'm going to highlight my text, and I can change the font over here. You can download scary fonts on the dafont.com website. I think I showed that in a previous video. I don't know if I have any scary fonts on this computer. That would have been a wise thing to do ahead of time here. You can't really download fonts while the program is running. What is this? It's a kind of, well, there's some water involved in this movie, so maybe some watery kind of look. Be nice if I had scary font here, something that was scary looking. Well, use something that's readable, at least you can. I'm going to go with this crazy font I just chose. I'm going to maybe center it. There's a center button right here. Might add a little bit of leading in there so the text has a little bit of space. Leading will be the space between this line and this line of text. Then you could change the color. I'm going to go with the, oh, we got red here. There everything's black and white but the title. And we'll add a shadow maybe. There we go. And then maybe a stroke. There we go. Stroke will be a line around that goes around the outside, and the shadow is a drop shadow that goes behind it, makes it stand out. We might change the kerning a little bit. So if I put my right now between the W and the H is a little farther apart. So if I click my cursor between, I'm going to go to an option called kerning, and I'm going to bring it in a little bit. There we go. And same with the Waldo. I'm going to bring in my kerning. There we go. That looks good. So here's my title, Where's Waldo? Again, I'm going to close my title window after I make a title, and in my project window over here in the bottom left corner is where my title will show up, and I'm going to grab it and drag it into my timeline. Again, I just drag it from this window right here into the timeline. Right now the default setting is 5 seconds. I want my title to be a little bit longer. I'm probably going to make it 10 seconds. Let's make it 10 seconds. So I went 5 seconds more. So it should be 10 seconds now in the timeline. To get it to fade on and fade off, I'm going to again use the same effect I used before in the effects window. That's the cross dissolve. I put a cross dissolve at the beginning of my text and a cross dissolve at the end of my text. In doing so, you can see what we got so far. We got the text fade in. And then the text fade out. Okay, and then I'm going to end the video footage right around here somewhere. So I'm going to go down to the zoom factor that I had at the very bottom here and stretch that out a little bit. I'm going to grab the edge of my video here. Remember, there's an out point here. I'm going to change the out point all the way back to about here. So all I want is a little bit of video at the very beginning, maybe a little bit longer. There we go. A little bit longer. Then let's look through my video footage that I have over here. I'm going to put my playhead at the very end by hitting my spacebar and let it go all the way to the very end and stop. Because my next footage I'm going to put right afterwards right there. So next I'm going to look through my footage. Where's Waldo? We're looking for something. We might use some of this bridge footage here. This looks kind of interesting. It's a bridge. Looks like we're looking for something. Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? That's pretty interesting. So again, we've got some bridge footage here. We're going to start kind of up there. So look like we're looking for somebody on the bridge. So I'm going to hit start there. Again, this is the end point. Play my video to where I want it to go. I'm going to go all the way to about where I'm looking in the water. And I say out, and I'm going to put it in the timeline. So again, this is an in and out point. You set an in and out point, and you can do the same thing in iMovie. And then you can say insert, and it puts it in the timeline. So even though you shoot video and you might have a whole bunch of footage in one file, you don't use the entire file. You can just choose parts of the file and then put it together in a timeline. All video editing software has a timeline. So let's look at what we got here. So we got a new one. Again, this is going to go start from the very beginning. We got a little fade in for the beginning. We got a little bit of text. A little color in the text there. A little fading out. Then we got some camera work here. Now, camera was set on automatic, so the exposure adjusts when your camera's going to the ceiling. So that was kind of a problem. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, just depends when it goes into the water. Okay, well, we might stretch that water out just a little bit. That's pretty interesting, you know. That's pretty interesting water there. So again, right now we have going from this footage to this footage. Very cut is that what we would call that in video terms. It goes from one video footage to the next very fast. The downfall of that, though, is that people might get a little confused. So what we might want to do, especially since the footage is so different. So what you want to do, again, we're going right back to the effects window here. I got my cross dissolve. I'm going to drag it and put it between the two video footage right there. And what it'll do is it'll fade it slowly between them. So if we put that cross dissolve I used before and I hit play, it'll nice and fade between them. Okay, so we got a good start to our video. We got a whole bunch of footage to go. Let's put in some sound so we can see what it sounds like with our soundtrack. I'm going to grab my soundtrack, and I often put the soundtrack in even before I start putting the video footage in so that I can sync the video footage up to the sound. Instead of trying to sync the sound up to the video footage, which is virtually impossible, I'd rather sync the pictures up to the sound. So usually I actually put the sound in first, but I didn't do that right now, so I'm going to put the sound in now. I'm going to put it in a channel. Down here in Premiere we have multiple channels. As you can see, I have one audio channel, another audio channel, another audio channel. The one that's in audio 1 is the actual sound that's attached to the video footage. If you don't want to use that sound at all, there's like a little sound kind of icon that's in the timeline here that looks like a little speaker, I guess, whatever. If you click and turn that off, it'll actually turn off that sound, and all you'll have now is the sound of the music that we've chosen. And you can see it's a lot different video now with the soundtrack going. That would be nice when the music came in to add some kind of difference, but it's alright. Okay, there was a little difference right here in the music, where right after this, where the sound kind of changed. Maybe. It's good to change the images where the music kind of changes too. I didn't really do that right now, but right now it seems to work like that. So we have our scary kind of footage going. We got there, maybe somebody's in the water there. So there's a whole bunch of other footage in here in our scary movie. There's a couple other things I want to show real quick. Ooh, I like that footage of the swinging swings. It looks like somebody was on the swings. There it is. That's pretty good right there. I like that footage. So I might put that in next. Again, I'm going to put my playhead here at the very end here. I'm going to hit it. Oh, it's not going to stop at the end because the music keeps going. It's okay. Usually what I do is I'll put my playhead, this thing's called the playhead, it's showing you what's up here, a little bit afterwards, and I'll put a footage in and then I'll jam it back in there so it lines up nicely. So again, I want to use this swing footage here. Looks like somebody was swinging or doing something. I'm just going to use a short footage of that, and I'm going to hit in and out real quick. I'm going to insert that. Uh-oh, look what I did wrong. As I hit the insert window, it split the audio of the music. Why would it do that? Well, that's just the way the program works. If you use the in and out points here and then you use the insert, it's going to split the audio because it thinks you want to put this in between there. There's a couple things you can do. One thing you can do, let me undo that, edit, undo, is you can lock the audio. And by locking the audio, it won't do that kind of thing. There's a little icon that's next to the speaker icon down in the timeline that locks it so that the audio is not affected. So if I hit the insert now, that's fine. The other thing is if you drag from here down, it won't do that also. So if I just clicked and dragged from there down to here, now it didn't do that. So again, you can drag from here down. I'm going to delete one of these here. And then I can jam this back to the beginning. So let's see how these footage works. This is going to go from this kind of to the swinging. Oh, there was a sound, a bang in the music right there. Ooh, we want to line that up. Let's try and hear that again. Let's hear that again. Right there, there's a crash. Oh, that's where I want to go, to this footage right here. So what you can do is there's a variety of different tools inside this program to do some fine-tuning and adjustment. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There's a little bar down here. I'm going to zoom in. There's a crash right there where the playhead is. Right there, we can play it again. Right there, bam. Right there, bam. You can see the sound there. So I want to move this over. I want to change the out point of this one and the in point of this one. Well, actually, just move this one down maybe. I want to change the out point of this one in there. So there's a couple ways. You could just simply move this one down so it starts there and drag the out point here and drag it so it fits there. So all I did was grab the edge of this one and drag it to there and move this one down and drag the edge of this one there. So let's see what that looks like now. There we go. Crashed right onto the swinging thing. So editing is a lot of fun. You can really, put things together very quickly. Let me pause this movie. I'll do a couple more things, and then I want you to try editing yourself. Okay, let me continue editing inside of Premiere. Again, some of the basics is, of course, syncing up to sound here. Okay, now there's going to be a transition here. I might stretch the music out to where the swings out to that point. So that's quite interesting there. Again, I'm going to put in some more new footage. I have some footage of me bike riding in this park kind of quickly here. So this might be good part right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this entire kind of piece in here, like right from about there. Again, there's an in and out point here. I'm going to start right there. I'm going to go all the way to the other side of the park here. I'm going to drag this one into the timeline. Again, instead of using the insert, you can drag from that window. And I'm going to speed it up because I want it to be kind of like the way you would drag it. See how I'm dragging it right there? I want it to be kind of really fast. So to speed it up, you can right-click on it in Premiere here. You can right-click on your video footage, and there's a whole bunch of things under the right-click option. I'm going to go to where it says Speed and Duration, and I'm going to type in like 400% right here where it says Speed. Oh, maybe even more than that. Let's go up to 600. Okay, you can even reverse a video. So this speed right here option will tell you how fast you want it. You can tell it the exact time. If you want it 20 seconds, it'll adjust the speed according to that to make it 20 seconds. And if I hit OK, it'll shrink down my video. It'll be a little bit smaller in the timeline, of course, because you're changing the time, but it'll be a lot faster. Watch, let's see now. Hoping the music would change at least right around there. Hasn't been really changing, so you get the idea though. Speed is a very fun thing you can do. You can see what the footage looks like. Let's put in some are we ready for the bloody handprints? Yeah, let's put in the bloody handprints. There's some bloody handprints that we got here. They're always good to use. Again, I just want to use some bloody handprints here. So there's a hand there, and there's a couple right there. And I'm going to go, and again, you can just drag from this window into the timeline without having to use the insert window. And in fact, just like you did with the speeding up the footage, if this is too short for you, you can actually change it to be a little bit longer. But this is fine the way it is there. So we put that in. We can maybe put the sign in. I like it kind of blurry and shaky. Let's start it. Again, we got some footage of the title. There we go. Ooh, then it ends with the chain link fence. Very nice. I like that. Because there's some other fence footage. So I'm going to drag that into the timeline. Line it up with the end there. You might even want to put a transition in there if it jumps. You put a transition in if it's kind of, well, that's not too bad. So we got that going, and then there was some chain link fence. Oh, here we go. There's some chain link fence by the cars. There we go. Maybe start here. With sun coming through right there. So I'm going to put some of that footage in. So we got oh, there was a sound change there, wasn't there? Oh, right around there. So again, I might, but I like the chain fence. Okay, so maybe I'll get rid of a little bit of the beginning of the Oak Grove Park here. Oh, but we can't get rid of the whole thing. Maybe we could speed it up a little bit. Let's speed it up. Now there is one that's a speed option inside of Premiere if you just grab it. It's called the Rate Stretch tool. If I put it at the end of my footage here and drag it back, it'll change the speed so it adjusts to that set. And I'm going to move this clip over. So Rate Stretch tool. And now just sped that up just a little bit and kept what I wanted, which was of course the chain link fence there, which transitions into the street now. Okay, last thing I'll show you a little bit is again, there's a whole bunch of different sound here. I'm going to kind of end my movie right here. There's a lot more footage you can put in and do, but I'm going to end my movie by turning the lock off the audio and kind of stretching the audio back to the end here. So again, you can change the outputting of the audio. So the audio is going to kind of end there. My movie's going to kind of end right there. Then I'm going to bring in my sound effects. So inside the sound effects is a bunch of different sound effects. I don't know if you can play them. Yeah, you can just play them by hitting the space bar when I click on them. Somebody walking. And then there's... yeah, I don't know if there's a... ooh, there's some car screeching here. Car squeals. Ooh, we might put that here at the end there. So again, there's more than one audio channel. I just put it below. Put it here towards the down below in audio 3. Gates closing. Wasn't there some gate or kind of by Oak Grove Park? I might put a gate closing there at the beginning by the Oak Grove Park there, by the text there. And then two women. What's that sound like? Ooh, we got some screaming going there. Ooh, that's pretty good. We can drag that in somewhere. Again, I'm going to zoom in down here towards the bottom so I can see what it looks like. We'll put the screaming by the bloody handprints. And again, I won't do it the whole thing. You can, there's in and out points. I can just use a little bit if I want, not the whole thing. Maybe a little bit longer for the screaming. There we go. Let's see here with the gate closing. You can really hear a gate closing. Okay, and that's the end of my movie for now. Again, I have all this footage. I'll put on the put it somewhere on the internet, and you can download it and try it if you want. Again, I want you just to practice some basic video editing that I just showed right there. To export this, to put it online in Premiere, it's very, let me save my file first. We're going to File Save. When you go File Save, you're just saving the project window, how you built it inside of Premiere. You're not really saving the video. To make a video in the program, you're going to File, Export, Media, File, Export, Media. And in this case, it'll open up the export window. There's a variety, and I'll go over a lot of these in another lesson, all the different formats that you would want, why you would want to use one for the other. But in this case, where it says Format at the very top of this window, I'm going to change to MPEG-4, which is the format that the H.264, I'm sorry, either one of these basically are pretty similar. The H.264 is the format that I use for YouTube, so I'm going to choose the H.264 under there. You can see all the different formats there. You really should understand what they are used for and things like that, and we'll talk about that, like I said, in another lesson. So I'm going to use the H.264. Then I'm going to go to where it says preset right there, and I'm going to go down to, there's a whole bunch of them for Android, Apple, iPhone, HD, Vimeo. I'm going to be YouTube. Now I'm not going to use the high definition YouTube because it doesn't make sense because this footage isn't high definition. So I'm just going to use the standard SD. That's what SD stands for. I'm going to use the standard widescreen, the very last one in this list, the YouTube standard 480p widescreen. Is the one I'm going to use for this because that's pretty much the footage that I have. And then I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it Scary Movie 2014. I'm going to put it in my folder, if I can find my Scary Movie folder. And I'm going to hit the export window. When I'm done, I'll then upload it to YouTube, and it'll be done.